It's 9 p.m. on a Saturday. You're sitting on your couch, your PlayStation 5 controller in hand, thumb moving before your brain even asks it to. 30 minutes of Call of Duty you'll never remember. A message you don't need to answer. A game you didn't plan to open. You're not even enjoying it. You're just filling the gap. That gap has a name: boredom. And for as long as we can remember, we've treated it like an emergency that needs to be solved in under 10 seconds. Now picture a different night. 60,000 years ago. No screen. No glow. Just firelight flickering against rock, and a silence so complete you can hear your own heartbeat. No phone to check, no notification to chase, nothing scheduled, nothing streaming, nothing to distract from the simple, unbearable fact of having nothing to do. So what did they do? Did that same restless itch crawl under their skin the way it does under ours? Or is boredom something we invented, right along with the smartphone? To find out, we have to go back further than most people ever think to look, back before writing, before cities, before agriculture, to a time when a human being's entire world was a small band of family, a stretch of land, and whatever the sky decided to do that day. And what we find there might change the way you think about your own boredom completely. Here's a strange fact very few people know. Almost no other animal on Earth experiences boredom the way humans do. A lion, after a successful hunt, will lie in the shade for 18 hours and want for nothing. A crocodile can remain motionless for days, and it isn't suffering. Most creatures, when nothing threatens them and nothing needs to be done, simply switch off. Stillness, for them, is peace. For us, stillness is torture. Something in the human mind refuses to stay quiet. Even in perfect safety, even with a full stomach and a warm fire, our attention starts to wander, searching for something, anything, worth paying attention to. It's as if evolution installed a restless alarm inside us that never fully turns off. Which raises the real question of this video. Did that alarm exist in the minds of the very first humans? Or did we develop it later, once life became complicated enough to need it? To answer that, we have to look at what boredom actually is, not as a feeling, but as a signal. Psychologists studying boredom today describe it almost like a second kind of hunger. Not hunger for food, but hunger for meaning, for novelty, for something worth engaging with. When the mind goes too long without stimulation, it produces a feeling so uncomfortable that we'll do almost anything to make it stop. And that discomfort isn't a flaw, it's a mechanism. It's the brain's way of saying, something needs to change. Go explore. Go create. Go find something new. If that mechanism is baked into the architecture of the human brain, and every sign suggests it is, then it didn't switch on with the invention of clocks, or classrooms, or Wi-Fi. It was already running in the minds of people crouched around fires tens of thousands of years before the first city was ever built. Which means somewhere, on some ordinary afternoon, an early human sat beside a river with nothing urgent to do, felt that same unbearable itch we feel today, and had to figure out what to do about it, with nothing but rock, bone, fire, and each other. Here's where the story gets even more surprising, because most people assume ancient life left no room for boredom at all. We picture constant danger, constant hunger, constant labor, every waking hour a fight for survival. That picture is mostly wrong. Hunting didn't happen every hour of every day. A single large kill could feed a group for a week or more. Gathering followed the seasons, not a clock. Once a shelter was built, it didn't demand attention again for weeks. Tools, once made, needed only occasional repair. During the good stretches, when the herds were near and the weather held, early humans could find themselves with something startling: time. Not 5 minutes between tasks. Real, open, unstructured time. Hours of it, sometimes entire days, with absolutely nothing demanding to be done. And when a mind built to seek stimulation runs headfirst into empty, unstructured time, something has to fill it. This is where the real story begins. The first thing that filled it was the oldest form of entertainment humans have ever created: the story. Picture a hunter returning after dark, exaggerating the size of the animal a little more with every retelling, the fire throwing shadows across faces leaning in closer. Picture an elder describing where the sun goes at night, why the stars move, what happens after death, building entire myths out of nothing but memory and imagination. Picture a child, wide-eyed, absorbing survival lessons disguised as adventure, without even realizing they were being taught. Long before a single word was ever written down, stories were already doing something remarkable, carrying knowledge, history, and identity across generations, purely through the human voice. Then came sound. Archaeologists have pulled bone flutes out of the earth, carved from the hollow wing bones of vultures, from mammoth ivory, some more than 40,000 years old. Someone shaped those instruments by hand, tested the notes, adjusted the holes, and played them, likely by firelight, likely for other people who wanted, more than anything, to hear something beautiful. Alongside the flutes came rhythm, hands on hollow logs, palms against stretched hide, voices rising together in the dark. Music gave early humans something almost nothing else could, a way to feel connected to everyone around them at exactly the same moment. And where there was rhythm, there was color. Deep inside caves like Lascaux and Chauvet, using nothing but charcoal, crushed mineral pigment, and their own hands as brushes, ancient artists painted galloping horses, charging bulls, herds of deer, frozen in motion on stone walls no sunlight has ever touched. Crawling through total darkness, by torchlight alone, someone decided this moment, this animal, this feeling, was worth preserving forever. Others painted their own skin, carved symbols into bone and antler, strung together beads made from shells and teeth, creating some of the very first jewelry the world had ever seen. None of it kept anyone alive. None of it filled a stomach or built a shelter. It existed for one reason only, because the human mind, given the chance, reaches for beauty. Boredom also had a physical outlet, throwing contests to test who had the sharpest aim. Wrestling matches to settle who was strongest, without real danger attached. Foot races across open ground that started most likely as hunting practice and ended as something closer to pure competition, cheered on by everyone watching. Long before a single stadium existed, humans had already discovered that turning skill into play was its own kind of reward. Even work bent to boredom's will. A spear that didn't strictly need repairing got repaired anyway, and decorated while it was in hand. A basket got woven with a pattern no one required. Hides became clothing shaped with care rather than just function. Shelter walls got reinforced, then etched with marks that meant something to somebody. Necessary tasks quietly became creative ones, simply because idle hands wanted something to do with their attention. And always, running underneath everything else, there was each other. Feasts after a successful hunt, jokes traded around a dying fire, the nervous, careful choreography of early courtship, entire families and bands coming together just to be near one another, with no agenda beyond connection itself. Being bored alone was miserable. Being bored together, it turns out, was often the beginning of something else entirely: belonging. Which brings us to the real twist in this story. Boredom wasn't just something ancient humans had to endure. It may be one of the reasons we became who we are. That same restless discomfort that sends you reaching for your phone tonight is the same discomfort that once sent a person reaching for a flute, a paintbrush, a story, a rhythm. Boredom pushes the mind to look for novelty. It sparks exploration. It demands invention. Some researchers now argue this exact restlessness may have quietly driven the emergence of art, music, tools, and eventually entire civilizations. In other words, the very feeling we spend our lives trying to escape may be one of the forces that built us. So no, ancient humans were not machines built only for survival, grinding through every second of every day with no room for anything else. They laughed at things that weren't funny to anyone but them. They painted animals that never stopped running across cave walls. They told stories that somehow survived thousands of years to reach us. They danced, competed, decorated their bodies, and gathered around fires for no reason other than wanting to be near each other. In almost every way that matters, they fought the exact same boredom you feel right now. They just didn't have a screen to hide it with. So the next time you catch yourself reaching for your phone because you're bored, pause for 1 second. Somewhere, tens of thousands of years ago, that same restless, uncomfortable feeling might have been the reason someone picked up a piece of charcoal and painted on a cave wall, or carved a flute from a bone, or told a story good enough that it outlived them by 10,000 years. Boredom didn't start with us. It may be one of the oldest feelings we have, and it might just be one of the reasons we ever became human at all.